them being in Johannesburg in 2014 doesn't prove that they were in Vosloorus, house number 13511 Kutwanong Street.
And I'm bad like the Barbie. I'm a doll, but I still wanna party. Things felt like I'm ready to bend. I'm a 10, so I pull an 10. Like Daddy, Stacy, all of the Barbies is pretty damn. All of the Barbies is bad.
Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Nogwazi Ntombela, also known as Kwazi Bear on all social media platforms. Do subscribe, be a part of this family, and if you're returning Sabi, welcome back, darling. Let us get right into the proceedings of this week. First of all, I'd just like to apologize for the way that I look. I know my eyes are puffy. I've been crying. We've had a loss in our family, so yeah, there's that. And also, if my mood seems a bit down, I really do apologize, but we're here and we're gonna give you the news as it comes for the court proceedings. So let's get right into it. So we had left off where the court was meant to continue on Tuesday, the 20th of March. And on Tuesday, unfortunately, Mngomezulu was not in court. Now, this little issue did not sit well with Judge Ratha. Okay, he raised the question of why wasn't he contacted that Mngomezulu would not be available. He asked about ethics even being taught anymore in school, because an ethical person would not be doing this, and Mngomezulu's behavior is just unacceptable. And he went on and on and on, and he even went as far as making some very disrespectful remarks with regards to black attorneys. And it has been brought to our attention in the media that the Black Lawyers Association would like to have a meeting with Judge Ratha, and I'm guessing it is in connection with the comments that he made on Monday. So basically, in the comments that he made, he basically says that black lawyers just seem to want to do things the way that they please in court, and it's unacceptable. And he also goes as far as saying that because he's a black lawyer, he's just expected to laugh and accept this kind of behavior in court, not knowing from Mngomezulu's side what was the issue. So those were the major things with regards to the proceedings on the 20th of March. The judge was not impressed with Mngomezulu at all, but Mngomezulu was not there to defend himself. So it was said that the witnesses would proceed and give their testimonies, and in Mngomezulu's absence, basically. And another issue that was raised is that Mngomezulu had contacted Ramusipili to ask him to stand in for him for accused number 1. And obviously, knowing their history, Ramusipili was the representative for accused number 1, and accused number 1 has opted to go with Mngomezulu in this case going forward. So there is a bit of a beef, or there is a bit of some bad vibes or bad blood between Mngomezulu and Ramusipili. So Ramusipili then says that he is unable to help Mngomezulu in representing accused number 1 because of the history that they have. So basically, the judge also agrees with Ramusipili to say, you know, you were fired by accused number 1, so how does Mngomezulu expect you to stand in for him? Mshololo also goes in to say, no, she was also called by Mngomezulu, but she says that she only received the phone call at 9:30 in the morning, and those were the instructions by Mngomezulu. So the judge really was not impressed with Mngomezulu, and the ruling or the decision that they took is that the proceedings continue with the witnesses that were available by the state, and that should there be any cross-examinations, the cross-examination will continue. However, the next witness that will be called by the state would only be called on Friday. Okay, so on the 20th of March, we had our next witness, which is Motlaping, who was the interpreter when alleged confession by accused number 2 was done to Magistrate Crinier. Now, she laid her evidence with regards to who signed the documents, who did this, what did she do, what were her contributions in the confessions. And at the end, Baloyi then asked what happened to the documents after they were signed, and she says in her own words that the documents were then given to the investigating officer, which is very dodgy. And when Baloyi asked this question, she then changes and says, oh, actually, she's not sure who took the documents. Now, this is the main question that Ramusipili led with regards to this evidence, to say, you said the investigating officer took the documents after you had signed. Is that indeed so? And she says, no, I did say that I made a mistake. I'm not sure if the investigating officer did take these confessions after they were basically taken. Now, with this in mind, it gives us two things, because if Motlaping says that the confessions were given to the investigating officers, it could align with what accused number 2 has said to us, to say that he never signed the confessions in the office of Cronje. The confessions were given to Gininda, and Gininda then took him to an open space where they assaulted him and forced him to sign that said confession. That is what the accused had told us. And also, from the evidence led by Makubo in the trial within the trial, we are aware that the investigating officers should not be anywhere near where the confessions are to be taken. They should not be involved at all when the confessions are taken. So this raises an eyebrow with regards to the confessions and how they were taken from accused number 2. After that witness was done, the next witness was called, which is Sergeant Mapakela, who was the photographer that assisted Khatebe, who was responsible for doing the pointing out, for accused number 1. So Mapagela was the photographer. They asked him about the pictures, and he confirms that he is the one that took the pictures. They asked him with regards to how they drove to the said pointing out. He says he followed a vehicle, which was a Toyota, if I'm not mistaken. He followed a vehicle which was driven by Ohadebe, and when they got there, he says that the address, now this is an interesting point, he says that the address that they stopped at was 13511 Kotwanong Street in Vosloorus. Now, if you remember very clearly, Hadebe said they did not know the address of the Khumalo residence. They were directed by Muzi Sibiya, and when he was questioned during cross-examination with regards to what the address was, he says the house did not have an address. Now, this is an interesting fact that was raised by Mapagela, because Mapagela then says, no, the address that we stopped at was 13511 Kotwanong Street, and that was the evidence that he led with Baloyi. During cross-examination, Advocate Mnisi was on point in asking this, because he says, you said the address you stopped at was 13511 Kotwanong Street in Vosloorus, is that correct? And he says, yes, that is correct. How did you know that that was the address? And he says, this address was given to me by Khatebe. So now this just comes to show that Khatebe already knew where they were going before Muzi even directed them. So there was no need for Muzi to direct them if they already knew the address. This is really, really fishy, guys, and Mnisi caught on to something really, really good there on behalf of Umgomezulu. So those were the issues on the 20th of March. Baloyi suggested that the case be postponed till Monday because Mngomezulu obviously isn't available, and the next witness that they have can come and testify. However, since Mngomezulu is not around, but Baloyi also does say that Mngomezulu says that he would be available on Friday. So Ramusipili agrees with the state to say we postpone until Monday. He doesn't have a problem. Ngumalo as well agrees with that. Mshololo as well agrees with that. But Mnisi is of the viewpoint that the proceedings should continue on Friday, because Thursday, being yesterday, was a public holiday, my birthday. So he says, you know, yeah, Thursday is a public holiday. We understand why we're obviously not coming, but there's no reason for us to be at home on Friday when we could be sitting and listening to the evidence of the next witness. So it was agreed that court will proceed today, which is Friday, the 22nd of March. Okay, so today Baloyi introduces a new witness, which is Mr. Matlou. Mr. Matlou will testify, or testified, with regards to the traffic department and basically the data that they have with regards to the accused. Now, a lot of people feel that this information is not relevant to this case. However, I tend to disagree, because I believe that the state are trying to discredit accused number one, because there was a version that was put by Ramusipili to one of the witnesses, if I do recall, that said that if accused number one were to come and say that he went home from 2013 because he had lost his job and only returned to Johannesburg in 2015, what would that witness say? And the witness obviously had no comment because they had no knowledge. And the witness was Zungu. Yes, I just remembered. The witness was Zungu. So he said he had no knowledge of basically his work details and all that, but he is certain that he was with the said accused in 2014. Now, what the state is trying to do with this witness, Matlou, is to prove that accused number one indeed was in Johannesburg in 2014, even though they don't prove that he was at the Khumalo household. Now, one of the details that they point out, before they go into the first witness, Judge Ratha apologizes, and he apologizes to all these different people with regards to the comments that he made on Tuesday, which were very unacceptable. He does say that he withdraws all those comments, and he also reads into record Mngome Zulu's letter of apology to the court, and Mngome Zulu does explain that he called Baloyi in the early hours of the morning, and the call was not answered. However, Baloyi, being professional, was able to call Mngome Zulu back, and that's when he relayed the information about him not being able to come to court. And he does put it on record as well that the reason why he was not in court is because he had taken another case, considering the fact that he hasn't been paid for representing accused number 1 and 2 in the Senzo Meyiwa trial. He has been basically behind in some of his payments, so he needed a job that would make him obviously manage to be able to recover the months in which he hasn't been paid by accused number 1 and 2, or by legal aid to be accurate. Okay, so Mr. Matlou then leads his evidence with regards to firstly accused number 5, and he says that accused number 5 basically got tickets. Now the interesting part about this is that they are trying so hard to link the polos that were in the confessions with this, because this says that in 2013 accused number 5 was written a ticket and he was driving a polo. In 2016 he was driving a white polo and he got a ticket. In 2016 as well he was driving another polo which was silver and he got a ticket. But now my thing is, all of these vehicles have different registration numbers, right? So if they're trying to connect them with the confessions and the registration numbers are so different, and he also puts it on record that these cars were from a rental agency. So accused number 5 is a person that usually deals with rental cars. That is very clear and evident in this basically in this witness's testimony, that accused number 5 just got a ticket in 2013, 2016 and 2016 for a white polo, which is trying to link up with the polo that was allegedly at the scene. Now the first accused, so accused number 1 is Sbiya. It is said that he applied for a learner's license. Now this is where it gets interesting, because if Ramusipili had said accused number 1 was not in Johannesburg, this now proves that actually accused number 1 was in Johannesburg in 2014. And with him being in Johannesburg, he applied for a learner's license in Brakpan. Keep this in mind because it will become handy somewhere down the line. He applied for a learner's in Brakpan in July 2014, and in September he went and he wrote in July he applied for the learners and he failed his learners allegedly, and then he applied again, and then in September he got his learners. Now there's nothing suspicious about that. He went, he wrote his learners, and it's okay. They checked on accused number 2, which was Untanzi, and there was nothing on file because Untanzi doesn't have a learner's license, he doesn't have his driver's license, he doesn't have a car registered under him, so there was no information there. With accused number 3, they say that there is a registration of a minibus, but this was only done in 2015. That's okay. Now this is where things get interesting, because with accused number 4, they then says he also went to Brakpan in July of 2024. So now my question is, are all the accused going to Brakpan to do their learners? or their license or to register their cars. And in the same breath, whilst they say that he went to Brakpan, they then say this was actually done in Nongoma. So now I'm confused. Was the application done in Brakpan or was the application done in Wanongoma? Because they also say that these details are still active. They've been active from February 2018. So kuningi Brakpan, there's indaba ekhona with regards to Brakpan, because I don't think it's possible. Anyway, those were the proceedings for today. And when cross-examination was meant to be conducted by Umgomezulu, he then says that he is asking for postponement until Monday, and he will start cross-examining the witness on Monday. So court has been adjourned until Monday, where we will hear the cross-examination of this witness. It should be interesting. Yeah, today's proceedings were very short, and yeah, the evidence led. Some people will say it's useless, but I say for the state, they are trying to discredit accused number 2, so it could work for them to say, you know, the lawyer had said this. But another thing is that the lawyer had said that, but accused number 2 later then came onto the stand and testified under oath, and there's no way where he says that he was not in Johannesburg in 2014. And also, them being in Johannesburg in 2014 doesn't prove that they were in Vosloorus house number 13511 Kutwanong Street, which is the Khumalo residence where Senzo Meyiwa was shot and killed. Anyway, that is it from me for today. I will see you guys next week. Bye.